poll: Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and Georgia. There are 2 HBCU teams in this week's Top 25 Division I AA poll. Florida A&M is number 18. Jackson State is number 25. The 2 teams play each other Saturday in Jackson, Mississippi. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money Talk.
Here's what happens when you advertise on KBLA Talk 1580.
3, possibly 4 weeks ago, I heard an advertisement on your radio station from a company called Grid Solar. I would love to have that phone number so I can reach out to them with reference to solar panels being installed on my property.
Our listeners are aware and engaged, but more than that, they are loyal. When they hear empowering messages that uplift their community and help them live better lives, they respond. No medium reaches this coveted black audience like KBLA Talk 1580. So, hit us up today at smb@kbla1580.com and let us help you connect with our loyal listeners. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Money to bud.
Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. Oh. I've laughed and I've cried. I've lived and I've died. Stole from, gambled and cheated. Cut corners outside. I've tried and I failed. Stood tall when they run. I fought a cold war in the dead of the hot sun. Take me back to LA.
KBLA Talk 1580. We just did a little impromptu thing. Pidoo! Little black girl magic thing we got going on right here. Because this is important. We're talking about Measure A. And I'm actually really happy to have with me in studio Veronica Lewis, who is probably one of the top experts we could have to talk about this particular conversation. So
thank you.
No worries. No on LA. We'll make sure you get your time. But she is with HOPICS, which HOPICS is on a mission. Your main portfolio is working with the unhoused, right?
That's right.
And so on a Talking Point Tuesday, we wanted to address some talking points and misconceptions and also the reality of what is Measure A. And it sounds to me like it's the sequel to Measure H.
I would say the new and improved.
New and improved. Not the sequel. Sequels are worse.
Yeah, I mean, Measure, again, and I don't want to, I know there's a lot of consternation around Measure H, but I have to say that, again, thousands of lives that have been touched. And I think that, again, we've learned. So for every 100 people that we've housed, you got 125 falling into homelessness, right? And so one of the things that we built into Measure A, and the reason we built in increased prevention, is because if we're able to stop the inflow of homelessness, our chief executive office of the LA County Board of Supervisors has said that we could functionally end homelessness in the next 3 years, right? Because again, if you're housing 100 and you got 125 falling out, then there's a constant drip.
That means there's net total of 25 people falling into houselessness every day.
Right.
But without Measure H, it would be 125, which would add up a lot quicker, which is pretty much almost exactly the same thing Pete White from LA Community Action Network said when he was on this show. And I think for me, some of the consternation around H has to do with the fact that we when we passed H and HHH, didn't realize the scope of the problem.
Yeah.
We didn't realize how big it was and how quickly it was escalating. So we fixed it. We thought we fixed it, but we didn't have a big enough solution.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And again, the Measure H brought forth a resource that we did not have, right? And so some of the other things that it supported, besides obviously the direct services, was enhanced coordination, not only across cities and counties, but also across organizations. And so we now understand in a way that we didn't before, because there were so many silos, because there was federal money, state money, and kind of folks just doing whatever. So however people want to refer to it, the coordinated entry system, which I know gets a bad rap, but the level of coordination and thoughtfulness around understanding who's homelessness, right, tracking data and information in a different way, allowed us to tell the story in a way that we, to your point, had not before.
Right.
And to understand the full scale and scope of what was needed. And although Measure A scratched the surface of that, Measure A, which, you know, is projected to bring in $1.2 billion annually, will be able to do a lot more, because it's significantly
Well, yeah,
more.
I mean, and then the other question we already talked about, which was transparency. That's the other consternation. Where's all the money going? So talk to me about this issue of inflation. You said you had more data. You wanted to share it with us when you looked it up.
Yeah, well, if I can, I'll share what the projected distribution of that $1.2 billion every year would be.
Yeah.
So 60% of it would be going to homeless services, including 15% for a local solutions fund. One of the things we've heard a lot from the other 87 cities, if you will, is that they want to be able to provide sub-regional supports based on the neighborhoods in their community. And so part of that 60% will go to the cities themselves to be able to do
in non-homeless expert language, that means the smaller cities want to have their own way of doing things.
Right. Well, no, we're not going to say that. They want resources directly from the sales tax generated revenue to be able to have some city specific initiatives. Certainly, again, the accountability.
Not that they're going to do everything their own way, but they will be able to have some custom program.
Yes, because the neighborhoods are different, right? And that's why our strategy is regional as well, sub-regionals. And then 26% of it goes to affordable housing, because as I said, and if you've heard of La Casa, I don't know if you've had them on the show, right? We kind of have a body already in place to really set standards and oversee affordable housing in LA County. And so 26% of that money goes there. 11% goes to homeless prevention and renter supports, including a right to counsel, right? Because part of it is paying rental arrears, just paying outstanding balances. The other part, unfortunately, there's a lot of nefarious actors that are landlords and owners. And so the need for legal aid and support to folks to not be displaced illegally from their homes is a big part of it. So the legal aid piece of it is also a part of it, besides just actual financial assistance to keep people housed. And then 3% is being spent for accountability, innovation, and data. So really the monitoring, the measuring, the administration of the dollars, 3%, which is pretty small when you think about a measure like this, is going towards all of the administrative pieces, including tracking the data and tracking our outcomes.
Right. And I think you were mentioning that the sales tax, which is half, is not going to be impacting groceries, obviously.
Yeah. So again, the estimation is that for low income households, $2.50 a month may be the impact of Measure A, with the quarter-cent or with the half-cent sales tax, and for other households about $5 a month. But these are the categories of things that are not taxed. So groceries, gas, medication are not taxed. Purchases made with EBT cards, rent paid, and diapers are non-taxable items as it relates to Measure A. And when you think about it, if you bought $100 pair of shoes, which many people can't afford, but you're talking about, 50 cents, if you will.
Right. Some people buy them anyway, even though we can't afford them. So you'd be paying an extra 50 cents on that $100 pair of shoes, and that is what will generate the 1.2. So, I have a million other questions, but I'm trying not to ask those because they don't have anything to do with Measure A. And so we're going to have to have a part 2 after the election. Okay. But Veronica Lewis, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about how we fund help for the unhoused right now?
I think because homelessness is so visible in multiple communities and seemingly has increased, people believe that the funding, again, is not being used in the way that it was designed to be. Getting people off the street, keeping them housed, providing additional supports. But I can guarantee you all those things are happening. As I just said, for every 100 people that are housed, 125 more are falling into homelessness. And so what we're seeing is yes, we've had investments and some supports over the last 40 years, but quite frankly, this problem in the way that it looks in LA has been developing for 40 years, and it may be somewhat controversial. And not until the last 10 years have we really seen true political will and resources to back that up. And so the problem didn't just get here and get started in the last 10 years. And even with the bold leadership and the creation of Measure H to bring hundreds of millions of dollars each year, it's still going to take some time. And if we don't stop the bleeding and stop people from falling into homelessness in the first place, then we can never just focus on the people that are already homeless. So the money is being used appropriately. We're seeing homelessness increase, which I think is the number one reason why people are like, what are you doing? I see this person in my neighborhood. It's because people continue to fall into homelessness, and we don't have the resources at the scale that we need. Measure A is going to help us do that.
Do you think that people, people are falling into houselessness? When you talk about the affordability piece and housing, homelessness prevention piece, this is something I talked about with the mayor of the city, Mayor Karen Bass, when she was on this show. And one of the things she was stressing is that money hasn't been there in a lot of prior formulas.
That's right.
It was all focused on people who were already unhoused. Talk about why that makes a difference, not just for people's lives, but from a sort of money spent perspective.
Why the focus on the unsheltered population?
Yeah, on getting people before they become unhoused.
Yeah, I mean, I think literally just from a purely financial standpoint, the cost associated with either relocating somebody because they have to move of no fault of their own related to a household or landlord selling, and more commonly people who could not afford the rent, or even sometimes the late fees push them out. Literally, it may cost us $6,000 to $10,000, and with the eviction moratoriums going away, that number is gone up a lot, right? Sometimes we're seeing $20,000-$30,000 arrears, but generally somewhere between, I'll say $6,000 to $15,000 to stabilize somebody, right? And then attaching the additional supports to help increase their income, or find alternatives so that they don't have all the household expenses if they're attached to other supports, as opposed to somebody becoming unhoused, the cost associated with temporarily housing them, right, in a motel or in-term housing, which you're talking about thousands of dollars, the cost of a security deposit and long-term rental assistance to really help them stabilize. Because when you fall out of your housing, many other things are impacted. In particular, some of our families and singles who are connected to mainstream systems, other things are impacted. It's just like a domino effect. So it's at least 4 times the amount to rehouse somebody and try to keep them housed than it is to, and that's Veronica math, right? So that's the Veronica math, right. So don't quote me on that. Well, you can quote me, but just say it's Veronica's math. But it costs significantly more to put somebody back into housing financially, but also the trauma, and the emotional costs. And again, I want people to understand that there's people from all walks of life that have found themselves unhoused. Everybody is somebody. Even the people you stepping over, walking over, driving past on the street, everybody is somebody's kid, somebody's brother, somebody's mother, somebody. And so the emotional cost of becoming homeless is in particular with the growing number of families in South LA. South LA is the most impacted region in terms of families with children experiencing homelessness. Our Family Solution Center is always inundated. And so besides the trauma for adults, just think about being a child and having uncertainty around where you're going to sleep and not having a place to call your own. And so financially, it's less costly. Emotionally, it's less costly to keep people from falling into homelessness than to have to rehouse them if they've already become unhoused.
All right. Well, Veronica Lewis, I appreciate you spending the extra time with me. I don't know if you want to do like your closing pitch on why you want folks to vote yes on Measure A.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Dominique. And as I said, I appreciate just all that you are and all that you bring to our community. Thank you for continuing to do this work for so long. For $5 additional a month, $2.50 if you're lower income, we can literally create pathways to keep people housed and stop them from falling into homelessness, and have more robust supports to help get people rehoused and keep them off the street. And so homelessness is not a issue person by person. Many people have fallen into being unstably housed or unhoused because of all of the different systems at play. And for $5 a month extra, we can help our communities thrive, our city thrive, and the most vulnerable people in our city and county become stabilized and be our housed neighbors instead of our unhoused neighbors. So please vote yes on Measure A.
Veronica Lewis, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dominique.
Got something to say about it? Call me now, 800-920-1580. We are unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops. I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And it is election season, absolutely. If it's on your mind, let's talk about it. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. That is the number. Vice President Kamala Harris on yesterday unveiling her plan to have an agenda for Black men. And in doing so, I think she is making it clear that she and her administration, should she be elected, plan to fight for said agenda. Why do I say that? Because we know that just like Los Angeles Black Student Achievement Plan, which was created through the activism of mostly Black and some Latino students to take police off campus and use that money to help close the education achievement gap. We had some right-wing group from out of town, Alabama, I believe, threaten the LAUSD in court, and the LAUSD folds like a bunch of little punks. And All Lives Matters, the Black Student Achievement Program, meaning turning it into a nothing, giving the money to any student, anywhere, any district. And they'll say, oh, affirmative action is illegal, Okay, well, defend that mess. Defend it on the grounds of reparations, on the grounds of come up with another means, another measure. It is what the Biden administration has done with student loan forgiveness. And I don't know why people are not getting the memo. Biden rolled out his student loan forgiveness. The Republicans went after it with their lawsuits and shut it down, just like they did with the Black Farmers Fund, which was originally at $6 billion. And what did the Biden administration do? They found ways around it. A few billion here, a few billion there. Chip away at it. Find another formula. So as a result of that, $4 billion, at least 4 of the 6 now, going to Black farmers. And I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, but it is literally hundreds of millions of dollars in student loans that have been forgiven, at a minimum. So what the Harris administration is saying is that her opportunity agenda for Black men is something she's willing to fight for. Because I guarantee you, your conservative Republican friends will pull out all the stops to shut it down, because that's what they do. And yet somehow, inexplicably, there are some Latino people and Black people who think they should vote Republican this cycle. So I think you can look at the plan and the talking point is, well, it ain't going to happen because of affirmative action. It ain't going to happen because lawsuits. Well, I hope and believe we're going to fight for our Black Student Achievement Plan here in LA, just the way the Biden administration has fought, pulling out all the stops legally to find ways to forgive those student loans in spite of Republican opposition. I believe that is what the Harris campaign is talking about. Maybe that's why Obama was lecturing Black men. Maybe he was trying to tee this up for Vice President Kamala Harris. He knew she had it in her pocket. She was going to go bam. I don't know. But this isn't something they just came up with in 5 minutes like the Platinum Plan. She is proposing giving $1 million in forgivable small business loans to Black men-led businesses. A forgivable loan is pretty much a grant. If you meet the criteria, you don't have to pay it back. She is talking about legalizing recreational cannabis and looking at how to make sure that Black men get a sizable share of that new business, which is something we've seen cities and counties struggle with. And, okay, again, I'm going to go back to the way the media is framing this as amid slipping support from Black men. But if you think about it, Vice President Kamala Harris said, what was it, more than a month ago, she said she planned to earn Black men's votes. She said that more than a month ago. Now here's the plan. It's not a response to last week's polling. This is something they've been working on, number one. Number two, the media wants to make this huge, big deal about slipping support among Black men. Well, what they're comparing apples and oranges. They're saying this many Black men said they would vote for President Biden 4 years ago. 85% of black men said they'd vote for Biden 4 years ago compared to 70% according to a recent poll who say they'll vote for Kamala Harris. Now, total apples and oranges. You're talking about a male candidate, a white man who's been in politics, at the top echelons and who was Obama's BFF, VP for 8 years. And we're talking about 4 years ago when there was no terrible campaign in Gaza before we got to the situation we are economically. So, before we had to deal with the supply chain interruptions of COVID and all that it brought in terms of our economic consequences. So that's those two things, you're comparing a train and a lemon. It doesn't even, so yeah, that's number one. Number two, this is a media hype game. Where is the conversation about women voters? Donald Trump, from the polling I've seen, has a 2 or 3 point advantage in the number of men that support him versus the number of women that support Harris. What do I mean by that? There's like a 30 point differential. Women are 30% more likely to support Harris than Trump. But Trump has a 2 or 3% greater advantage among men than Harris has among women. So why isn't the mainstream media talking about Harris's need to improve her performance among women by 2 to 3%? Then we'd be focusing on who? White women. White women. And I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. Why don't you take your swaggy, sexy self over there, Mr. President, and go convince one of your favorite constituencies, the white girls. Why are we not talking to them? Activate Taylor Swift. Activate Barack Obama. Activate the black men you do have. That's, that 2 or 3% of movement among white women or Latino women or both or Asian women. You notice I'm not saying black women because we're already doing our part. Would make all the difference in the world. How about you spend a few news cycles on that? Oh, you don't want to do that. You want to divide our community, which is largely very united if you look at the numbers. You want to divide our community. GFOH, please, with that. Perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. Love to hear from you on all things national and international on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Vice President Harris will sit for an exclusive interview with Fox News. It'll air Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern from Pennsylvania. FEMA is temporarily pausing aid in parts of North Carolina for Hurricane Helene recovery. Ashe County Sheriff Phil Howell said that FEMA's personnel in the mountain region were receiving threats, which led to the agency taking precautionary steps. Crews are still working to restore power to some areas hit by Helene after the storm initially left over 1 million customers in the dark. President Biden surveyed damage in Florida and announced $612 million for projects to help the electric grid in areas affected by Helene and Milton. And rapper Jay-Z's Roc Nation Entertainment Company and Reform Alliance are hosting a free job fair in Richmond, Virginia at the Greater Richmond Convention Center on October 18th. Doors open at 9 and the event is free to the public. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. you're in good hands with Allstate.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A crowd of 13,400 showed up Monday night for the Clippers' first game at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Capacity is 18,000. The Clippers beat the Dallas Mavericks in a preseason game. Backup guard Kevin Porter Jr. led the Clippers with 18 points. The Clippers are now uncertain if Kawhi Leonard will be ready for the regular season opener October 23rd against the Phoenix Suns. Leonard is still dealing with inflammation in his right knee. Before training camp, Clippers general manager Lawrence Frank said Leonard would not practice or play in the preseason so he could be ready for the season opener. Top 5 college football teams in this week's Associated Press poll: Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and Georgia. There are 2 HBCU teams in this week's Top 25 Division I AA poll. Florida A&M is number 18. Jackson State is number 25. The 2 teams play each other Saturday in Jackson, Mississippi. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
I'm Jeff Davis. I believe my daughter should inherit something, but not the role and responsibility of burying me. That's why I have a pre-need burial insurance plan through Harrison Ross Mortuary. Their plan offers me 4 payment options. 1, pay in advance or pay over 3, 5, or 10-year time periods to keep the payments affordable. Contact the professionals today at Harrison Ross Mortuary. We can be reached at area code 310-704-4901. That's 310-704-4901. And ask for me, Jeff Davis. Thank you.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
I was so excited when I heard the sandwich was back. What's up? This is Mike.
And this is Celia.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich
is the symphony of flavors. You can always count on that crispy, tender, juicy chicken. It's so good.
My favorite part is the pimento cheese. Topped off with the honey, it all comes together perfectly. I like the original.
I like the spicy chicken fillet. But either way,
you're getting a winner.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy fillet now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this?
We didn't think so.
You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, the phones are hot. Let's get them in. Let's get these folks a chance to say what y'all got to say. I love that everybody's up and at 'em this election season. I'm going to Willie from Palmdale. Good morning, Willie.
Good morning, Dominique. I just want to shine in on housing. I was wondering, when could the county put like 2,000 houses in an area, like a gated community in 30 different areas? I mean,
are you talking about for the unhoused?
Yes.
But I mean, isn't that kind of like jail?
Well, I was wondering, because I didn't understand what she meant by interim house. What's an interim house?
Interim housing means temporary while you're going from one situation to another. Like you, either you're in a shelter, or you might be in a hotel room, or you might be in some kind of a group setting that you live in until you can be placed in a permanent supportive unit.
But I mean, it seems like a tiny home. I mean, they got one bedroom, one bath, a kitchen.
Right, but at the point we're at right now with LA County and LA City, and most cities and counties across the country, by the way, because the unhoused crisis is not just here, it's just most noticeable here, is that there's not enough, whether it's a tiny house, an actual apartment, a home, an apartment in a building, gated, ungated, there's not enough. We do not have enough housing stock yet for all the people that need them. That's why people go into interim or temporary housing until they can be placed somewhere permanent.
Well, if you can get a tiny house for $15,000 or $10,000,
where can you do that?
It's there. It's there. It exists.
I don't think so, but okay. I don't think so, because if you're talking about LA County, I think if you're somewhere in Mississippi, because it's not just the cost of the house, you have to put it on land, you've got to build it, you have to pay those building costs, and some people love tiny homes, some not so much.
But at least you can leave when you want to and come back when you want to.
Yeah, true. Depending on the where it's set up and who's running it and who's in charge of it. Some tiny homes have bathrooms, some don't. Some have a shared communal bathroom. A tiny house is not my favorite solution, because I don't think it's fair that the very poor should have to live in a tiny home while the very rich get to live in mansions. But look, I'll take a tiny home over a tent any day. But the point, Willie, is right now we're still at the point where we don't have enough permanent supportive housing, regardless of how it looks.
Is it the land?
I think it's everything. It's the land. It's a lot of these communities don't even want it. Look at what's happening on the west side of Los Angeles. Shameful. Santa Monica, where they're actually canceling and trying to stop unhoused and affordable housing projects that have already been approved, because they don't want them in their neighborhood. So you've got the NIMBY thing, you've got land, you've got building costs, materials I know have expanded in cost. Now, I'm not making excuses. I think all of these things are things that we can and should overcome. But this idea that you can just get a tiny house for $10,000, I think you're living in a fantasy world.
Okay, then. Thank you for taking my call.
All right. You know what? After the election, we'll get someone in and we'll do a whole show about that. Let's go to Tom calling us from Compton.
Yes, I would like your take on 2 quick questions.
Oh, yeah. Your name ain't Tom. Your name is Terry. Hi, Terry.
I had to change my name. You stopped taking my call, so I haven't called.
That's not true. I would take your call. Whether you call yourself Tom, Terry, or Tina, I don't care. You just can't.
Okay.
You're going to have to, do it in a reasonable amount of time is all, because I know you bring in the talking points.
Okay.
Hard and fast this morning.
Okay, the first thing I wanted to know when Kamala done her interview.
When who?
I believe it was
who are you talking about?
Kamala Harris. When she done her interview, the vice president.
Oh, the vice president. I got it.
Yeah, when she done her interview on 60 Minutes, or I believe The View, and it seemed like if
she did both.
It seems like if she's not in front of a teleprompter, she always messed up. But when she gave that disaster,
ding, 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 talking point number 1. Okay.
Okay, when she gave that disaster answer about she'd do everything that Joe Biden did, she don't see something different, whatever. And her polling went down. And then the last question that I have, why Obama trying to play the race card with black men for us black guys to vote for her only because she black, but with her policies put America last, and now she's trying to come with this deal. She'll help black guys out because she down in the polling. She will adopt the same policies that Biden do, and it don't help blacks. So why should we vote for her?
Ooh, that was quite masterful. It was a masterful word salad there, Tom. As far as the ability to mush up a bunch of half-eaten talking points into one lovely dish. Okay, so you don't want a loan. You wouldn't like to have a loan from the vice president.
In office right now. Why she can't do it now? She only saying that to get in office.
Ding, 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 ding. Another talking point. He answers a talking point with a talking point. I think you should get a prize for that. She's the vice president, not the president. Vice presidents do not have the powers to do such as that. So you don't want a loan from the vice president, possibly for when she becomes president, for your business.
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, you haven't yet.
She only desperate to say that because she down in the.
It was a yes or no question, Tom.
A lot of black guys going to.
Okay, so you don't want it. Got it. What is the race card, Tom?
Why Obama lecturing us black?
What is the race card, Tom?
Only because she's.
What is the race card, Tom?
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
He's saying if we black, why we not vote for her? Why? Her policies don't help blacks.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day, Terry. Terry, by any other name, is still a Terry. Okay. I am of the opinion that if you're black, all the cards you get are the race card. They're all race cards. You get all spades. That's what you get dealt. You look in your hand, and if you're looking for some other cards, they're just not there. Wait, how come I can't have that Taylor Swift card or the Miley Cyrus card? I got all spades. Joker, you black. Clearly, Terry, you're not the only one that was offended by Obama lecturing black men. He did what he had to do. He did what he thought he had to do. I think it's funny that you're over here bashing the Kamala Harris's plan for black men. First you bash that she doesn't have a plan, then she has a plan, which has clearly been months in the making. Now you're bashing that. And yet the platinum plan is nowhere to be found. Let's go to Ron calling us from Richmond. Hi, Ron.
Good morning to my favorite Bay Area homegirl, the DJ holding it down worldwide. Man, there's a lot of Kamala hate going on, man. I can't have folks hating on my Bay Area homegirls like that, man. I voted blue all day long. I do not want to see Trump back in this White House for another 4 years. I don't. And my mama, though, she 83 years young, God bless her. We not having that here in the Bay.
Hi, Ron's mom. Look, before you move on to whatever your next point was, Ron, let's help out Anthony, who called from what did he call, from North Carolina. He says he doesn't know Kamala. Never heard of her.
Wow. Where have you been, bruh?
You're from the Bay. He said, after she turned 20, where was she? Well, like I said, I don't follow her year by year like that, but apparently she graduated from Howard in 86, went to Hastings in San Francisco, so that means from, I think, 20-something on, whatever. I'm trying to do math. I'm not that good at it. She was in her 20s. She moves back to the Bay, and she lived there until she moved to L.A.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else? Like, what else can you tell homeboy about black girls from Oakland? I start laughing because I'm thinking about Bay Area black women, and well, if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. There it is. There it is. From the Bay to L.A., we worldwide. So I go hard for the Bay. I'm from the Bay, so I'm gonna rep the Bay. That's how we get down.
She was a deputy district attorney from 1990 to 98. That's 8 years in Oakland.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that means she became district attorney in 2004. Then she was elected attorney general in 2010. So to me, that means if you don't know her, you're just not paying attention. Like, it's all there. You're not a private person.
Yeah.
She's been in working in public office since 1990, people.
Wow.
That's what is that, 30, Miles is good at math. What is that, 35 years? Yeah, 35 years in public office, but we don't know her. She's a mystery. Oh, and before that, she was at Howard, and then she was at Hastings Law School. But we don't know her. She's a mystery because we don't know her. Her parents went to UC Berkeley, so her parents were in the Bay. WTF. Go ahead, Ron.
Hey, you said it all for me right there. So, there it is. Got to do your research, people. Get up on games. So she get my support. So Kamala Harris, God bless you. I wish I could meet her, but I know it's going to be impossible now because security going to be on her tight. So,
yeah, as it should
if I can just get I'm praying one day I can get a hug, a handshake, or something when she come back to the Bay. But right now, I know she don't have time because we trying to keep her in this White House. So I'm supporting Blue. God bless you. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to all the Cowboy fans that was who ride me last week when they beat my Steelers. Yeah, they real.
Oh my gosh.
They real quiet this week, especially your homegirl at that other station over there. She was clowning.
Well, I am originally from San Francisco, as you know, in case you don't know me. And so we are never sad when the Cowboys meet misfortune. Let me just put it that way. Thank you, Ron. Oh, for the folks that really pay attention, Dr. Gerald Horn is joining me tomorrow. That'll be a great conversation. So some great things going on around here. And then if you're tracking election stuff, Michelle Chambers will be here on Thursday. She's trying to get into Bradford's seat for the Assembly. So the Senate, State Senate. A lot going on. Ron, thank you. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I was so excited when I heard the sandwich was back. What's up? This is Mike.
And this is Celia.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich
is the symphony of flavors. You can always count on that crispy, tender, juicy chicken. It's so good.
My favorite part is the pimento cheese. Topped off with the honey, it all comes together perfectly. I like the original.
I like the spicy chicken fillet. But either way,
you're getting a winner.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy filet now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
That morning chill means truck season.
5 more minutes.
No snoozing. Do it all in a Chevy Colorado or Silverado, including the class-leading range of the Silverado EV.
Talking to me?
Work, play, hauling, off-roading, a Chevy truck can take it all.
Okay, I'm up.
It's Chevy Truck Season. Get 0% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
0% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 9.3%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/24.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yes, it is the place. And, I'm calling all my white women whisperers, my football players, my holistic guys, my, whoever you might be. Talk to them. That's who we need to get over here voting. Not just on the top of the ticket either, all the way down. All the way down if you're in LA to Measure A, right? All the way down. If Miss Veronica Lewis, if you missed that conversation earlier, you're going to want to circle back and get that one, because if she couldn't convince you to vote yes on A, I don't know who can. Anyway, my point is the real margin, the real place where we can see some movement, and I'm glad Kamala's, catering and everyone's catering to black men. Just don't blame them. Y'all need to be calling all my white women whisperers, from Taylor Swift to that fine brother on the block. Use your powers for good. And what is it with these football players' wives just hating on Kamala? Black men married to white women who just feel they can talk smack about the Vice President of the United States. Ha! What's his name? Raheem Mostert, his wife, and several of them that are just too, well, he's not black, but he ain't white. Tagovailoa and a bunch of them, right? They want to talk smack about the vice president. Brothers, it's just a heartbeat away from her talking about smack about your mama. If you're going to let the lovely, beautiful white queen that you're married to trash black women, that's problematic. I'm going to just say it. That is a problem. Paul from LA, you have the mic. Paul, you there?
Hey, how you doing, Dominique?
Good. How are you?
I'm blessed. I know we got a couple of minutes here. I just wanted to hop in on the conversation. You know that we've been discussing over the last year or so, or longer, that it was never going to be an issue amongst black men. That is this narrative that's being created that black men are trending a certain way, which is never, if you follow the numbers all the time, it never bears fruit. It's a talking point. It's not true. And what I think is really interesting is how there's this wording now, or this saying now, that we don't know Kamala Harris. And I think that's interesting, because when Joe Biden originally ran and said he was looking to nominate a woman to be his vice president, Kamala Harris was the top of the list that everybody wanted to be his vice president. So that talking point doesn't hold water. And for those that don't think that a lot of these proposals and things that have been accomplished amongst this administration hasn't been beneficial directly. I'm speaking directly to the black community. It's not true. What if I told you, I'm speaking to brothers directly, that right now in Congress, 32 black men are in Congress right now, and there are 27 black women in Congress. What if I told you we have the potential in the House of Representatives to make the next majority leader a black man in Hakeem Jeffries? What if I told you since 1989 till now, there's been about 51 million jobs created. And of the 51 million created jobs, what if I told you 50 million of them were created by the Democratic presidency who was in office at that time? So when you hear a lot of these things, they are talking points. They are not true. But what I will say is we know the election is going to come down to white men, white women, and Latino men. Obama won his presidency by running up the number in exactly the black turnout. A lot of this is created to create black apathy because they know if black people show up to the polls as a whole, and it's because it's going to come down to a turnout, especially in those swing states, Kamala Harris will be our next president. And one more thing, please, let's not make the same mistake we made after 2008 election. People just sat back after Obama was elected and did not pay attention to the midterms. We have to give her the ammunition she needs to get these proposals across the finish line, which means we need to hold the Senate and give her the House. And we will continue to see the policies that everybody wants enacted.
Yeah, it's well said. And you've got a minute to spare, Paul. A minute to spare.
All I want to say is there are brothers and sisters really out here that are not only doing the work but are educating. And anytime you see people coming from a place of grievances, it's not true. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, black poverty was between 40 to 50%. It is now under 15%, which means if you're paying attention to the proposals and everything that's actually transpired during this administration, black entrepreneurship is up right now. Black small businesses are getting federal contracts right now. So it's happening, people. There are a lot of talking points that do not hold water, and that's what they're created for, to cause discontent and to cause voter apathy. It's not true. Do your homework.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. It's always good to hear from you. Don't do it, Kamala Harris. Don't do the Joe Rogan podcast. That's a no. I don't care if it's the most popular podcast in the country. You don't have to do that crap. Don't do it. I mean, she's done Howard Stern, The View, 60 Minutes. Okay, I think you've made your point, Queen. Well, meanwhile, Trump is still doing nothing but his own rallies. Okay, so we're going to be talking with Isabel Jurado, taking you back to LA once again, one of our most important city council races. I'll say it is the most important city council race, not just for the 14th, but for the symbolism of our unity, our dignity, and our progress for the city of Los Angeles. Isabel Jurado next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Vice President Harris will sit for an exclusive interview with Fox News. It'll air Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern from Pennsylvania. FEMA is temporarily pausing aid in parts of North Carolina for Hurricane Helene recovery. Ashe County Sheriff Phil Howell said that FEMA's personnel in the mountain region were receiving threats, which led to the agency taking precautionary steps. Crews are still working to restore power to some areas hit by Helene after the storm initially left over 1 million customers in the dark. President Biden surveyed damage in Florida and announced $612 million for projects to help the electric grid in areas affected by Helene and Milton. And rapper Jay-Z's Roc Nation Entertainment Company and Reform Alliance are hosting a free job fair in Richmond, Virginia at the Greater Richmond Convention Center on October 18th. Doors open at 9 and the event is free to the public. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. you're in good hands with Allstate.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A crowd of 13,400 showed up Monday night for the Clippers' first game at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Capacity is 18,000. The Clippers beat the Dallas Mavericks in a preseason game. Backup guard Kevin Porter Jr. led the Clippers with 18 points. The Clippers are now uncertain if Kawhi Leonard will be ready for the regular season opener October 23rd against the Phoenix Suns. Leonard is still dealing with inflammation in his right knee. Before training camp, Clippers general manager Lawrence Frank said Leonard would not practice or play in the preseason so he could be ready for the season opener. Top 5 college football teams in this week's Associated Press poll: Texas, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and Georgia. There are 2 HBCU teams in this week's top 20.
Dollar, that's what I need.